It's an unsettled issue, enveloped in litigation, sent from Congress to the states, but the response unclear. Over the last 50 years, mounting questions about the status and future of the Equal Rights Amendment, or ERA. Now President Joe Biden with the latest push to add it to the U.S. Constitution. Late last month, President Biden asserting no one should be discriminated against based on their sex, and we as a nation must stand up for full women's equality. In 1972, the Equal Rights Amendment was passed by Congress, supporters hoping it would promote equal pay and end discrimination of women socially, economically, and politically. The ERA states, equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. But before the amendment could be enshrined in the Constitution, 3/4 of the states, 38, would have to vote to approve it. Congress gave them 7 years to do so from the time the amendment passed in 1972. But by the deadline in 1979, only 35 states had ratified the ERA, falling short of 3/4. Confusion followed, a deadline extension, concerns about some states retracting their original ratification, and unanswered legal questions about the entire process that continue today. Some have argued the deadlines were unconstitutional. Just 2 years ago, in 2020, Virginia became the 38th state to ratify the ERA, meeting the 3/4 mark, and now a resolution reintroduced in the House of Representatives hopes to pave the final way for the Equal Rights Amendment to be added to the Constitution. But beyond the legal debates about deadlines, there are concerns about what equality actually means for supporters of the ERA.
It starts out pretty innocuous, women's rights, like they should get equal pay. But then all of a sudden, the abortion issue always gets thrown in there.
Ethel Maharg, executive director of Right to Life Committee of New Mexico, says in her state, equal rights for women includes state funding for abortion.
So much more, and it becomes all about her right to kill her child, basically.
In a letter to members of Congress last year regarding the ERA, the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops wrote, one consequence would be the likely requirement of federal funding for abortions. The bishops also expressed concern with advocates of the Equal Rights Amendment having another agenda beyond protecting the rights of women. ERA supporter U.S. Representative Carolyn Maloney says women and all marginalized genders need equality under the law. And the activist group ERA Coalition shares on its website a focus on gender nonconforming and transgender women and girls and non-binary people.
When we look at the ERA, too, we see the issue of sex being completely eliminated, the idea that there is no difference between a man and a woman.
Mary Zock is director of the Center for Human Dignity at the Family Research Council. She says if the Equal Rights Amendment is implemented, faith-based organizations with deeply held beliefs could face penalties for not complying with transgender ideology. And Zock, a Catholic, describes the transgender movement as one based on a lie.
It is not loving to tell a person who is dealing with gender dysphoria that they are, in fact, trapped inside a body that is wrong for them. That's not loving. That is actually the opposite of loving someone. That's lying to someone.
The Equal Rights Amendment, evolving over the last 50 years. Mark Irons, EWTN News in Depth.